Time now for Business on the Program with Kate Moody. Good evening, Kate.
Hi, Delano.
Starting out with a major decision in the United States about net neutrality.
Yeah, it's one of those slightly obscure concepts that is very important to a lot of people. The Federal Communications Commission has voted to overturn rules brought in under the Obama administration, which prevented internet providers from charging more or slowing access to certain content online. The 3-2 vote was split along party lines, with Democrats arguing that the rules protect consumers and companies alike. The Republican commissioners, though, said very little would concretely change, that the internet had functioned well before the regulations and would do so again.
For those of you out there that are fearful of what tomorrow may bring, please take a deep breath. This decision will not break the internet. What we are doing is reverting back to the highly successful, bipartisan, governmental approach that existed before 2015.
So just what is the principle of net neutrality? Brian Quinn has been finding out.
A common speed limit for all travelers on the information superhighway. Net neutrality traces its roots back to the beginning of the internet itself, when data was still carried over phone lines. The idea is that internet service providers, ISPs, should not be allowed to slow down or speed up data delivery for different content. In 2004, FCC Chairman Michael Powell said internet users should have 4 main freedoms: freedom to access content, use applications, attach personal devices, and obtain service plan information. In the early 2000s, the FCC moved to stop ISPs and phone companies from blocking popular apps that either used too much data or competed with their other businesses. But ISPs successfully argued in court that the FCC didn't have the authority to regulate them. In the early 2010s, the popularity of streaming video service Netflix led ISPs like Comcast to demand payments to ensure the necessary bandwidth. Netflix struck deals, but public backlash led the FCC to declare service providers common carriers, essentially privately held public utilities, and net neutrality had its firm legal basis. Ajit Pai, Donald Trump's pick to head the FCC, says unnecessary regulation of ISPs has hampered investment that could bring faster, better internet to more Americans. But many fear that if those ISPs are allowed to pick which sites and apps load based on who can pay the most, the internet as they know it could cease to exist.
The Walt Disney Company has sealed a takeover of the entertainment assets owned by 21st Century Fox, including a film studio and its stake in the streaming service Hulu. The deal is worth $66 billion total in stocks and in debt. Disney's CEO Bob Iger has agreed to extend his tenure in order to ensure the integration goes smoothly. Shirley Sitbon explains.
One of America's biggest film studios is switching hands in a blockbuster deal. 21st Century Fox Film Studio is one of the assets Disney will buy from Fox if the deal is cleared by regulators. With it, and for a sum of $52 billion in stock, Disney will take over Fox TV studios, TV stations FX and National Geographic, cable networks, a 39% stake in Sky, the pan-European broadcaster, and the Star TV network in India. With this deal, Disney will also double its stake in Hulu, becoming a majority owner of the streaming service.
Well, I think it's pretty clear today that consumers want access to entertainment, one, that is high quality, but two, they want access pretty much anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And it requires new technology to be able to deliver it in that fashion. Hulu certainly provides that, so the controlling stake in Hulu that we will acquire with this acquisition is one way to provide that.
The move is central to Disney's plans to launch its own direct-to-consumer streaming services and confront technology companies such as Netflix and Amazon.com Incorporated, which have taken many viewers away from traditional TV networks. The deal includes Disney assuming $13 billion of Fox's debt. Meanwhile, Fox will be spinning off its remaining brands into an entity focusing on live news and sports.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. Shares of 21st Century Fox are trading up 6%, Disney up about 3%. The broader trend on Wall Street is negative, though. The Dow Jones earlier hit another record high before turning downwards. Investors waiting for the final version of the U.S. tax reform bill. The major European indices dropped this Thursday, the CAC 40 shedding about 0.75% by the close. The utilities sector dragged down trade for a second session in a row. A day after the U.S. Federal Reserve raised interest rates for a third time this year, the European Central Bank held back from any similar moves. The main refinancing rate was kept on hold at 0. The bank said it had not discussed a firm end date for its massive stimulus program. It has already outlined plans to cut its asset purchases in half to 30 billion euros per month, beginning in January. It's not, though, clear when that support will end finally. The bank's president, Mario Draghi, did send an upbeat message about the outlook for European growth. Take a listen.
Risks surrounding the euro area growth outlook remain broadly balanced. On the one hand, the strong cyclical momentum, underpinned by continued positive developments in sentiment indicators, could lead to further positive growth surprises in the near term.
Moving on to some of the day's other business headlines now. Teva Pharmaceuticals will cut a quarter of its workforce, or 14,000 jobs around the world. It's part of a restructuring plan to save some $3 billion over the next 2 years. The Israeli firm is the world's largest producer of generic medicine, but has been struggling against fierce competition. Delta Airlines has placed an order for 100 A321neo jets from Airbus, with an option for 100 more. The deal would be worth up to $13 billion at list prices, although major carriers usually receive discounts. It marks a blow to Airbus rival Boeing. Planes will be delivered from 2020 onwards to help upgrade Delta's aging fleet. And some 20,000 people took to the streets of Athens this Thursday, demonstrating against fresh budget cuts and labor reforms. The one-day general strike shut down the public sector, schools, hospitals, and transport across the country. The Greek parliament is set to vote on new spending plans on the 22nd of December. A new streaming service is going live this week, special channels dedicated entirely to music and with a focus on jazz. Quest TV is the brainchild of French entrepreneur Reza Akbarali and the music producer Quincy Jones. It's raised nearly 150,000 euros through the crowdfunding website Kickstarter. Videos will include interviews, live performances, and documentaries about jazz, hip-hop, and other musical genres for a subscription fee of less than €8 a month. There you go, Delano. It's not just Disney and Fox mounting a sort of different option for Netflix.
Something for jazz enthusiasts.
For music lovers everywhere.
Music lovers. Thank you very much for that. Kate Moody there with the day's business.